First I'm starting out with flesh toned Sculpt Gel to create a layer of fake skin over my chin, lips and cheeks. I also extend it down my neck. Now I'm using my metal wax spatula to smooth out the edges of the Sculpt Gel to try and create seamless edges. You can also use isopropyl alcohol on the tool to help the tool slide over the Sculpt Gel without it sticking too badly. I continually wipe the tool on a paper towel to get rid of excess Sculpt Gel, each time having a clean tool with the isopropyl alcohol coating on it. Now I've blow dried the Sculpt Gel until it's nearly firm, and I have a sponge which is also dampened with isopropyl alcohol, and I'm sponging over the Sculpt Gel to help blend out the edges and help create a more matte and skin-like finish. Now I'm using prasad, which is an adhesive, to glue down my eyebrows. I'm doing one layer using a cotton tip. Here I'm putting a second layer of prasad over my eyebrows. You can see that it's drying because it turns clear, and I'm going to press down the hairs as flat against my face as I can get them. Now I'm going to powder over the prasad so it's no longer sticky. This is a setting powder. To conceal them even more, I'm going to put some cream makeup. This is Ben Nye's Death palette. I'm going to put some cream makeup over the eyebrows to help conceal them even more, and then set that cream makeup with more powder on top. This is just to get an overall creepy look. Hiding the eyebrows does make people look quite strange, but you definitely don't have to do it if you don't want to. Now I'm going to use the Skin Illustrator palette in Necromania to colour my skin a lighter and more dead-light colour. I've got a chip brush which I've cut to be quite shorter, and I'm dipping it in the different colours. There's like a bone colour and a dead flesh colour and ghastly, and some off greens and greys and purples, and I'm mixing it with the alcohol and then flicking the brush against my skin, or flicking the brush near my skin to have little speckles of colour dispersed all over my face. I'm doing this, you can do this with cream makeup as well, but I'm doing this with Skin Illustrator because I always have trouble getting the cream makeup to have an even colour on my skin, and when the cream makeup hits the silicone, it usually sits quite differently as it would on normal skin. And so by flicking just the Skin Illustrator all over my face, there's no clear edges, and it's just an easier way for me to deal with having such a large part of my face covered with silicone and trying to match it all to each other. I'm trying to match the skin tones across my face. So I'll take a few layers, and the alcohol is quite fumy, so you need to just do it in stages and then give yourself breathing breaks. I'm putting some bile colour from the same palette around my mouth just because I thought it would make it look gross, but you don't have to, you can do whatever you want. Now I'm using the cream palette, the Death palette again, just to darken around my eyes a little bit. Try and make them look more sunken. I prefer using cream makeup around eyes because the fumes of the alcohol are quite overwhelming, and the cream's a lot gentler on your skin, especially around the eye area. I'm doing some more of the white Skin Illustrator pigment around the eyes so that they don't look so purple and even coloured. This is a close-up to see what this speckled makeup looks like closer up on the skin. How it's just kind of mottled tones. Now I'm spraying a sealer over the silicone part of my face so that the Skin Illustrator inks and the bloods sit better on the silicone. And then I've blow dried the sealer to speed up its setting. I've got a flat spatula. I'm going in under the Sculpt Gel to create a gap between where it joins into my skin and the outside so that the jaw piece can fit in that gap. I'm very carefully using little scissors just to cut open the sides so that the spatula and the jaw can fit in. And now I'm carefully and slowly pushing the spatula between my skin and the Sculpt Gel to create that gap. And this does take a little while. And make sure you don't go all the way through the back, because then there will be like no seam or no back to it where it's blended off into your skin. Now I'm just lifting up the side and placing the jaw piece under the skin, and I have put some prasad on the back of the jaw and waited for it to dry clear so that it has a bit more of an adhesion to my skin, under the fake silicone skin that will hold it on top. And I didn't realise you couldn't see me doing that on the camera, so sorry it goes a bit below frame. Just working it back beneath, got my spatula in there again to try and create more room. And once it's in that skin, we'll kind of hold it in place as well. I'm going to get little scissors and just cut away some of the silicone because it's covering too much of the jaw that I made and I want more of the jaw to be visible. So I'm just trimming the edges of the silicone just until I like the way that it looks aesthetically. Now I've got some Skin Illustrator, and I started out with a Rose Adjuster colour from the Flesh Tones palette. Try and make it, see if I could make it look like the upper lip had been there but had been kind of pulled down, but I wasn't exactly happy, so I ended up going over this colour with just a blood red anyway, so this step is unnecessary. Now this is the blood red colour I'm going in with from the FX Skin Illustrator palette. I'm using Krylon Fresh Scratch Blood in dark to add more of a dark blood gel, meatier colour to the upper lip. try and disguise where that goes and give it more of a raw, meaty feel. It's been ripped out. I'm using a cotton tip to smudge it around and soften it. Now I'm using Kensington Gore blood in aged, which I got from Mouldlife, and I'm using a stipple sponge to stipple around, and then a tissue to kind of move it and blend it out as well, so it doesn't look so carefully placed. I'm adding some dishwashing liquid to the blood so that it will sit better on the silicone and not bead up as much. Now this is Maron squirt blood, which I'm using to squirt down my neck for the runs and dribbles of the blood. Now, I'm the kind of girl that can't leave the house without mascara on, so making those eyes pop. But I do like the contrast that it adds, and I like the dribbly, runny, crying mascara look on people who have had quite horrific makeup wounds. So now I'm adding water with a cotton tip to make the mascara run down my face and look messy. This is a surgical mask that I got from a chemist, and I've cut it up and I've just kind of dunked it on the blood that I had. And now I'm cutting it so that it reveals a bit more of the jaw and the makeup underneath, because it was covering too much for my liking. And again, just for your own taste, you can adjust where it's cut and how much blood you put on it. I'm stippling some more blood over the mask. And some of the blood was put on from behind the mask and soaked through, and I think that looks pretty good, rather than having it all just placed on the front of the mask. I'm adding some more blood up near my eyebrow, stippling it around so it looks a bit squirted. Do you think we're done? I've added contacts in here. This jaw has, quite a lot of flexibility and movability. The silicone that holds it in place, you can move quite freely with it, and it's quite comfortable, which is why I prefer to use it instead of latex now. And depending on how adhered the jaw is to your chin, you can move the jaw up and down as you move to talk and eat. And there's, you can see the gap there, so you can fit straws in to drink, or fit maybe popcorn-sized bits of food in there, or poke your tongue out.